Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Shakira Peer. In the headline, 63 acres of land cleared for the construction of the international airport, and Dominica mourns passing of the Member of Parliament for Grand Bay. Details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. 63 acres of land is currently being cleared in Wesley for the construction of the international airport. Last Monday, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, led a delegation to get a first-hand view of the clearing works done thus far. The work include the removal of shrubs and debris to facilitate the geotechnical studies for the airport's construction. Prime Minister Skerrit expressed his satisfaction with the progress of works thus far.
We visited the actual site of the construction of the airport. We have started the clearing of the site, obviously light clearing, so that to allow for access roads for the equipment to make their way through. So this studies can be done on the actual site. And the first phase of the clearing will be some 63 acres of land, again using our local heavy equipment operators and owners. So far so good. We're progressing. We in the next several months we will sign the contract for the major contract for the construction of the airport. But all of the elements that are necessary preconditions to the actual commencement of the airport are followed in place.
Prime Minister Skerrit says the lab for soil testing is completed with all the necessary equipment on island.
The lab is completed with all of the necessary lab equipment on island and will be installed in the next few days, including the equipment needed for the geotechnical surveys and studies, which is a very important component for construction. And so we're very satisfied with the quality of work there.
Member of Parliament for the Wesley constituency, Honorable Fidel Grant, says despite the challenges being faced by the COVID-19 pandemic, progress is being made towards the construction of the international airport.
Today was a significant day for me as the parliamentary representative of the Wesley constituency, because it means that during this COVID period we continue to see progress and development in the Wesley constituency. The international airport is progressing smoothly.
Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Registe Austri, says the construction of the international airport will bring much needed social and economic activity to the community of Wesley and environs.
And I believe also that once this project is completed, there will be a total economic and social transformation of this part of the country and the general country as a whole. So I want Dominicans, you come up, you take a look at it, because you've been hearing this thing on the radio, you're hearing us talking about it, but I believe seeing is believing. And I would like to urge you to wear your mask, to sanitize, do not shake hands and so on. But you must come up and drive to Joe Burton, and drive to Marigot, and drive on the airport side, and to make your own decision as to the level of development that is taking place while we are fighting COVID-19.
The agreement for the construction of the international airport was signed between the government of Dominica and Montreal Management Consultants Establishment MMCE on June 9, 2021. The airport project, whose completion is set for 2025, will be solely funded by the country's Citizenship by Investment program. Meanwhile, 31 houses are being constructed in the Joe Burton area to facilitate the relocation of residents for the construction of the international airport. These homes are scheduled to be completed in September and are on schedule.
Then we visited the housing, where about 31 homes are being built for individuals whom we acquired properties from, and have agreed for the government to build for them. So, and those homes are on schedule. The quality is excellent. All homes are being constructed by local construction contractors, and with a significant number of workers. All the materials procured locally from local suppliers, from tiles to concrete and to cement and to all of the components are galvanized and the lumber. So this is a significant boost to the construction sector.
The Finance Minister commended the local contractors on their management skills on this project.
And I want to commend the local Dominican contractors for the diligence and for the willingness to learn construction management, because construction management is so very important, a critical element to construction itself. And if they have better management practices, then they can save more money, they are more efficient, and they can have a better return on their contracts.
Minister for Housing, Honorable Registe Austri, says government remains committed to the transformation of housing in Dominica. He says the construction of these homes in the Joe Burton area will certainly change the housing in that constituency.
When we visited the housing site to witness the transformation that has taken place in the Wesley community as a whole, with the quality of the homes, but more importantly with the joys on the faces of those homeowners, I can understand why some people believe that investment in housing is a waste of money, which is what I've been hearing in recent times, that the government should put its housing program on hold. But I believe this landmark development in Joe Burton will serve as a great reminder of the people of Wesley from where they were and where they are today.
Minister Grant is also pleased for the new housing development and the employment opportunities afforded to his constituents during the construction phase. He also spoke of the resiliency of these homes, which will create a much safer environment for homeowners.
I'm particularly pleased with the housing part of that project, because it means that my constituents would be housed in resilient homes which would last them a significant time. But what is more pleasing is the level of activity in terms of employment for our young people. Driving through the constituency, we know the number of persons who are employed on the road and at the construction site. Now, what this means is that the community continues to benefit from that development. So shops, restaurants, all of these businesses have already boasting of increased sales. And that is a significant part that we will be seeing for the next 5 years to come.
The government of Dominica and Montreal Management Consultants Establishment have improved Dominica's housing stock since 2015 with the construction of several apartment complexes across the island. This is all part of government's vision to build resiliency and become the world's first climate resilient nation. Project Director of MMCE, Kal Murad, says the company was advised by the Prime Minister to ensure that all jobs are given to local contractors. He says so far, MMCE has honored this commitment.
We were directed previously and now by both the PM and His Honorable PM and Dr. Anthony Hayden to localize all jobs and all projects. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we will do. So I would like to ask all Dominicans who are looking for a job or looking for pre-qualifying their company to use our email, which is mmcejobs at dom, from Dominica, DOM, airports.com.
Dominica mourns the loss of one of its leaders and more popular parliamentary representatives. The news broke earlier Wednesday, September 1, of the death of Honorable Edward Registe, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, and parliamentary representative for the Grand Bay constituency. Minister Registe served in many roles during his lifetime, including Minister of State in the current administration, Public Relations Officer of the WASCO, and Deputy Speaker of the House of Parliament. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says the late Honorable Edward Registe was committed to the development of his constituency and was considered a community-oriented person.
He was always very focused on Grand Bay and the country as a whole, but he had this extra compassion and passion and interest in Grand Bay and build and engage in a number of community activities. And then he served as Member of Parliament and brought the energy to the campaign, and Grand Bay and also nationally, and Ed was the voice of Labour at many of our rallies, as the master of ceremony, or the chairperson of the meetings. And he also was able to develop in his time, even as the village council chairman. Ed always running Grand Bay like a country in itself.
The Prime Minister says over the years he had developed a very close relationship with the late Honorable Registe.
He and I were able to develop a very, very good relationship. You know, I could always rely on him, and 99% of the suggestions he brought forward were in sync with my thinking, so there were not really any dissenting views on this. And I try to help him as being a part of it from my own experiences, because he recognized that not being a part of it were two different kettles of fish, and but the passion was there, and the commitment there, and I had respect for him too.
Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Reginald Austrie, also expressed condolences to the family and constituents of Honorable Registe. He says he was deeply saddened to hear of the passing of his colleague.
I just want to lend my voice to that of the hundreds of people, thousands of people all across the country and throughout the region who have been expressing their sympathies and condolences to the family of the fallen hero, Edward Registe. On behalf of my constituency, my family and myself, I too would like to say how deeply saddened we are, and we were, and we still are. Some of us still can't believe it, on the passing of Ed. Ed was in cabinet with us yesterday, and I was with Ed a couple of days ago at the funeral of Lester Bird in Antigua. And we spoke, we discussed the politics of Grand Bay.
Minister Austri says the memory and legacy of the late Member of Parliament for the Granby constituency will live on.
And I want to say to the people of Granby that Ed is gone, but his memory, his legacy will be etched in our memories. And this government will deliver every single promise that Ed made to the people of Granby. It will be delivered by the Dominica Labour Party. The people of Granby have been extremely good to the Dominica Labour Party. They've made sacrifices for the Dominica Labour Party. They've lost sons of their soil. Remember the Honourable Pierre Charles and Ed, who died with their boots on. They died on duty, so to speak, straight out of a cabinet meeting. And so the Granby people have made their sacrifices, and they'll be truly rewarded by this Dominica Labour Party government.
Meanwhile, General Manager of Dominica Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Cecil Joseph, recalls his most profound memories with Honorable Registe, describing him as a selfless leader.
I saw Ed as a young man growing up, Ed plenty younger than I am, really galvanizing the energy of young people. And so he was very instrumental in ensuring that the Dominica Labour Party had young people among its ranks. And so in 2000, Ed and myself were responsible for a number of affairs of the Labour Party. In 2005, we also found ourselves responsible for financial affairs of the Dominica Labour Party and to galvanize young people and the party itself to retain electoral power. And so I have been with Ed all those 42 years, understanding who Ed was.
Mr. Joseph went on to describe Registe as well-loved as a parliamentary representative and urged Dominicans to use his loss as motivation to move the country forward as per Registe's vision.
I also remembered when Ed was given the opportunity, he was in Parliament as the Deputy Speaker of the House. And when being Deputy Speaker of the House, you would have realized that Ed would have been a no-nonsense person with the rules and regulation of the House whenever any parliamentarian from either side of the House would have gone beyond what is expected of them to do. Ed, as parliamentary representative, the people of Granby loved him. They voted for him overwhelming, and they have lost him today. And in that loss, we just have to get deeper because he will not be returning to us. We just have to find out what his vision was. We know what his intention was.
During his final parliamentary presentation for the 2021-2022 national budget, the Granby MP called on Dominicans to work with their government to build a dynamic Dominica.
I say to my constituents to continue to work with this Dominica Labour Party government on this journey to a dynamic Dominica. From my presentation, I went through great effort to list all the initiatives of this budget that will positively impact your lives. I invite you to come and discuss with me how we can, as a community, benefit from these impactful measures aimed at improving the lives of every Dominican. Dominicans, Dominica is ours to build. I invite you to join hands with the government, with the Dominica Labour Party, with your parliamentary representatives and your caretakers as we continue to build on our successes to fully realize a dynamic Dominica.
As Dominica observes Month of the Elderly from September 1 to October 1 under the theme Older Persons Embracing the Digital Age, Minister with responsibility for senior security, Honorable Dr. Addis King, is encouraging senior citizens to embrace the use of technology. The Dominica Council on Aging, Inc. proposed theme for the Month of the Elderly was inspired by the United Nations theme for the International Day of the Elderly, Digital Equity for All Ages.
As we mark the beginning of the Month of the Elderly, we are guided by the theme for this month, Older Persons Embracing the Digital Age. Therefore, we must not be a people to be left behind, as this theme is in line with the United Nations International Theme, Digital Equity for All Ages. Amidst the noisy confusion of today, we must adapt and learn to live with the prevailing circumstances, hence the reason for such an appropriate theme. It is a theme that is a challenge as well as an interesting journey for all seniors.
The COVID-19 pandemic and its attendant new normal has forced seniors to use social media in varying degrees for social as well as other types of transactions. As such, events in September within the DCOA Month of the Elderly program will include the use of WhatsApp, Facebook, FaceTime, Zoom, email, and other such media platforms, engaging older persons in varying levels of the internet and social media. Dr. King commended senior citizens on their commitment to follow health protocols and their ability to adapt to the current climate.
We commend you for your determination and the commitment to follow the health authorities' protocols and to show that in the midst of the adversities of the COVID-19 pandemic, older persons, one of our most vulnerable and treasured groups of people, can adapt and continue to enjoy the best life Dominica has to offer. As a medical professional and as your minister, I reach out to you, the membership of the Council on Aging, and all senior citizens of this nature isle to remain on guard. Our behavior cannot leave us wanting. We can complicate our way of life by throwing it to the wind, but we have to remain vigilant and simply follow the basic rules of proper hygiene, social distancing, and wearing of protective face covering.
The DCOA requires younger persons to assist older persons in accessing and using their telephones and other devices in order to establish a greater sense of equity as it pertains to access and use of technology on all levels. The minister went on to call on the youth to participate in the activities planned for the month, playing their part in helping to impart digital knowledge to seniors.
I call on the youth to play their part in helping to impart digital knowledge to our seniors. Communication is the exchange of meaning between intelligences. You, the older ones, should tell the youth what the technology means to you. And you, the younger, should tell the older persons what the technology means, and I am sure they want to know what good things you can do with it. You too can share because you are both intelligences. If there's one thing the older folks emphasize, is how to use the technology for the good. How do we use the technology to help one another? How do we use the technology to uplift one another? How do we use the technology to encourage one another? This is the message of the older, wiser Dominican persons to those engaged in our emerging technology world.
Dr. King reiterated her call for seniors to embrace the digital age and continue practicing safety protocols during this time.
Digitalization is inevitable as the world evolves, and so we cannot resist it. We cannot take it lightly, since our history of longevity speaks for itself and informs us that we will have long enough to use the technology that is constantly evolving. Therefore, let us embrace this digital age and trend and use it to the best of our abilities and for the benefits and freedoms such technology affords us. With these few words, it is my greatest pleasure to declare the 2021 Month of the Elderly here in Dominica open. And I wish all older persons and affiliates of the Dominica Council on Aging a fruitful month. Stay safe, sanitize, practice social distancing, wear masks, get vaccinated.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
This is CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque. I took the jab, the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm encouraging you, my brothers and sisters, to join me. Take the jab and observe the protocols. We're saving lives and jobs.
Raise your voices high.
Welcome back. Cabinet has approved amendments to the Environmental Health Services COVID-19 Regulations SRO 26 of 2021. The new amendments took effect from Monday, September 6, 2021. Businesses currently allowed to operate will now do so from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Mondays to Saturdays and from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. However, gasoline stations will have extended hours on Sunday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. An increase in the number of persons to attend church services, weddings, and funerals to 25 persons have also been approved. This will be followed by strict adherence to physical distancing guidelines and other safety protocols. Discussions are currently ongoing with senior government officials and church leaders for the resumption of regular in-person service. Meantime, the reopening of gyms, bars, gaming establishments, and in-dining at restaurants is currently under review. The government of Dominica encourages the public to continue practicing all protective measures to prevent COVID-19 transmission. Citizens are further encouraged to know their status, get tested, and get vaccinated. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States OECS Commission marked the official launch of the OECS Program for Educational Advancement and Relevant Learning, OECS Pearl, funded by the Global Partnership for Education. Speaking at the virtual launch of the official ceremony to sign the Memorandum of Understanding with 4 OECS member states, Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, Honorable Octavia Alfred, stated that Dominica is proud to have contributed to the conceptualization and design of the OECS Pearl and remains confident that the program will meet the needs of the people of Dominica and the wider OECS.
Dominica is proud to have participated in the conceptualization and design of the OECS Pearl, and we remain confident that the program is designed to meet the needs of the people of Dominica and the wider OECS. The OECS Commission was an obvious choice to serve as grant agent, and we are proud to have contributed to this accomplishment by the Commission and our ultimate partner in education in the OECS. The Ministry of Education, Dominica, looks forward to the gain to be realized through the OECS Pearl and thanks all those involved at the global partnership level, at the regional level, and at the national level in making this program a reality. We are ready to work to implement this program and bring the values to our citizens, most especially the children of Dominica and the wider OECS region.
The OECS Pearl is a 4-year program that seeks to advance progress towards the goals of the OECS education sector strategy through increased access and improved student learning in basic education. Minister Alfred says the current surge of the COVID-19 in the Caribbean prompted the transition to distributed learning with a blend of face-to-face and online learning.
Principals and teachers require continuous support to meet these new demands. The Ministry of Education has answered the call and is providing the technologies as well as the expertise to guide teachers to meet the needs of students. As we prepare for the start of learning on October 4, 2021, we are engaging our principals and teachers in training to build on the skills they have acquired since the start of this pandemic. The training aims to ensure that our children are engaged in dynamic online learning that involves a range of creative and innovative approaches to teaching and instruction.
With its vision, a quality education for every child, the Global Partnership for Education will help optimize education systems so that all children can learn, including those marginalized by poverty, ethnicity, disability, and displacement, and puts gender equality at the heart of the partnership does and how it operates. Minister Alfred reiterated her ministry's commitment to ensuring continued investments in the education sector to enhance the education system on the island.
We recognize that more resources are needed to increase the quality of teaching and learning, and ministries of education across the OECS continue to explore the financial and technical support options in spite of the challenges being experienced. While welcoming the support of international agencies and friendly governments, we recognize that the education of our children is first and foremost our business as individual states within the OECS. We will therefore redouble our efforts to secure and increase national budget support for investments in the education sector and to complement these gains with support from our partners and key stakeholders in the private and the NGO community.
The OECS Pearl will be implemented primarily in the 4 GPE member states, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. However, the other 5 English-speaking territories of the OECS will be directly involved in some aspects of implementation. One key area for full collaboration and implementation is the revision of the OECS harmonized primary curriculum. And now your weather update. A trough system associated with Major Hurricane Larry is expected to result in occasional cloudiness with brief showers across the area during the next 24 hours. As Major Hurricane Larry passes northeast of the region, a reduction in wind speed will be maintained. Light winds, available moisture, and daytime heating could enhance afternoon showers through to Tuesday, followed by the approach of a tropical wave by Wednesday. Slight dust haze is expected to linger across the area during the next few days. People with respiratory sensitivities are advised to take all precautions to avoid complications. Moderate to rough seas are anticipated during the next 24 hours, with swells produced by Hurricane Larry expected along the eastern coastline. Swells are projected to increase to near 10 feet. Life-threatening surf and strip currents are expected. A small craft warning and a high surf advisory are in effect. All are advised to stay out of the water. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here in the GIS News Production team, I am Shakira Peer. Thanks for watching and stay safe.